All right, well, obviously it's a big series coming up this weekend, but how do you make sure the team is still locked in for tomorrow? Because it's split right now with the Beavers, and you got to make sure you capture the season series.
Yeah, the most important thing we do right now is get the series. Like, that's all we're thinking about is our game tomorrow with Oregon State. I think these guys have done a really good job of taking it one game at a time, and I wouldn't expect them to do anything different.
How have you seen your prep for each time you've faced Oregon State kind of change as you've gotten to see them a little bit more this year and see what their team is?
I think what's nice is now we have 2 games under our belt, so it's just more information for us to use for the preparation.
Absolutely.
What has allowed you guys to not look ahead? It's done great against ranked opponents this year, but what is either something you're doing, the team's doing, the coaching staff's doing that's allowed them to consistently stay in the moment and not look ahead, especially on a weekend like this when it'd be easy for some young athletes to do?
I think this team has a really good understanding that every single game that we play is just as important as the next. Like, there's no game in our schedule that's not important. And so to understand how to tackle the game that is right in front of us and then move on to what is next. I think they're just a very mature team and understand that concept and have done a really nice job with it.
Looking back to last weekend, blowout win in game 1, a couple of gritty wins in game 2 and game 3. What's your overall assessment of another weekend where you guys won in a lot of different ways, but ultimately you did win?
Definitely. I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, did we win or did we lose, right? It's just there's no in between. And I think just understanding that every game is going to present a different situation. You know, the first game we won in a certain way doesn't mean that the second and third game are going to look like that. So going into a series, I think it's important to, one, can we get game 1 under our belt? And then now going to game 2, we understand that we're probably going to see a new pitcher. We're going to see a new umpire. Things are just going to be different. So how do we go into game 2 with the same mentality that we did with game 1?
Second time crossing the Rockies this year for a road trip, and you guys are unbeaten on all of them. How's that adjustment been? I know it hasn't been a lot of trips, but it's different than in the past. How's that been just transitioning, and has it been very different at all operationally for you guys?
No, it's definitely different. You know, we're in a different time zone. We're at a different place. So it is different for us. But I think, again, their preparation has been really good, understanding when we cross time zones, what are we needing recovery-wise? What are we needing to just put us at our best? You know, what does our sleep recovery look like? I think little things like that off the field to make sure that we're fresh, we're rested, and ready to go into those games.
When you have the midweek like this and ahead of the weekend series, do you feel like it can kind of help you in a little bit of a way in terms of just kind of being a little looser when that Friday and that Saturday games come around because you already had a little bit of experience this week, you're kind of warmed up a little more?
Yeah, we get to play, we get to get out on the field, and we get to compete together as a team. And I think anytime we get the opportunity to do that, whether it's midweek or it's during the weekend, I think it just goes a long way for us. These guys do a great job of competing at practice, but I just think it's a bonus every time we get to play.
Got Emma Cox back this last weekend. How'd you see her kind of handle the recovery process out for about a month and a half? What'd you think of her performance this last week, and how nice is it to be adding or re-adding a player like her caliber at this point in the season?
It's good. It was good to see her coming back. She's been patiently waiting to come back and has done all the right things required for her to recover the right way. I loved her mindset. I loved how she didn't try to do too much. She just got caught up in competing and seeing a good pitch and hitting the ball hard and getting back to, receiving behind the plate. So, she's a freshman, but I think she handled it. Again, I just think this team is a very mature team. They understand not to allow their emotions to get in the way of what they're doing.
How do you plan to handle that rotation with her and Bracey behind the plate? Because obviously both of them can handle the pitching staff, but have bats that you want to put in the lineup too.
Definitely. We need them both. It would be very difficult to just go with one catcher for the entire year. I think anytime, whether it's here or even somewhere else, you see just one catcher, you start to see their offense dip a little bit because they're just tired. It just requires a lot. So to have them be able to work off of each other and one catch, the other one, depending on what it looks like, what do the matchups look like, maybe they're the DP and they flip, whatever. I just think we have a lot of versatility within our team that allows us to see how we match up and be able to plug our best lineup for that.
You talked before the season about the work that you saw Kedry put in the weight room, in the batting cages, just everything that she's been doing. And to see it pay off to the way it has for her, how just exciting has it been to see her development? I mean, she's hitting 470, but then also to have the power come through. She hits her first home run this year, but then she hits another one last week, and she's been able to do it all season long.
Yeah, she's one of our strongest athletes. I mean, what she does in the weight room, it's very, very impressive. So, yes, she's worked really hard and has had to really I just think when you're a senior, just all of a sudden sometimes things just get a little clearer. You just, as a freshman, maybe I don't know. I just think that's what I would say. As a senior, you just see it a little clearer. This is your last year. She wants to walk us, out of this year a certain way, and I love what she's doing.
Called Jane the Lion's Den, I believe, after the Michigan series. And it was a great atmosphere. Expect the same this weekend for UCLA coming in. Not to look past Oregon State, but how excited are you? The forecast looks great. Sounds like it's going to be sold out, and it should be the two premier teams in the conference going toe-to-toe. How excited are you for this weekend?
I'm really excited. I love that we get the opportunity to host this series at home. I do believe the Jane is the Lion's Den. I think about what the Jane and our fans have brought to us all season, and it's been postseason mentality, postseason environment, and that's what we need. I look at the Michigan series and what our fans did for us, and it was huge, and that's what it's all about when you get the opportunity to play at home.
Obviously, it's a different team every year, but UCLA, it's a team you have a history with, even though it's kind of a new rivalry in the Big Ten. Do you think that's just going to help you kind of in terms of comfortability this weekend, knowing it's a team you've seen before, it's not something new?
Yeah, we're very familiar with them. They're great. They're an excellent team, and I think about for us wanting to be the best, we got to beat the best. And UCLA is their storied program, and so the opportunity to match up with them at home, I think, is great.